here we are today celebrating some words on paper, and not that many words, but they were profound words because they represented an idea that was fairly new, an idea that meant a new experiment, an experiment in self-governance. This concept that we have rights, that rights do not come from government, that rights come from somewhere else. Where do they come from? Well, they came from our Creator, the Supreme Creator. They came from on high. And every human being is endowed from their Creator with those certain unalienable rights. And government exists, as you heard those words so eloquently spoken today, to protect those rights that are already ours by the consent of the governed. And among those rights are life, that's the easy one. Liberty, that's the fun one. And the pursuit of happiness, which is the one that we've gotten wrong for a long, long time. And I'll speak about that in just a second. But these ideas put on paper inspired a movement, a group of colonies, a small group of people about the size of the state of Utah, a little over 3 million people, when they selected then General Washington to lead them against the largest and most powerful superpower on earth, with this crazy idea that God would bless them in their efforts to secure again those rights. And that's exactly what they did. They won, and more inspired words were put on paper, a constitution, a very simple constitution, eventually with a few amendments that were really important to protect our rights. And again, the world began to change as this idea of self-government spread across the globe. Many of those who wrote those words and who voted for those words weren't sure it would last. Some of them guessed that at most 100 years. Most of them never expected that 250 years later, we would be gathering, celebrating those documents and that experiment in self-government. By the end of their lives, many of the founders were pretty sure that the experiment was failing. Alexander Hamilton, because we didn't have a stronger federal government. Well, we certainly fixed that and probably went a little too far the other way as we're trying to push back now. Thomas Jefferson was worried that it had failed because of what was happening with regionalism and especially with slavery, knowing that it was going to pull the republic apart. And he was right. It almost did destroy the republic. We had to have a war to solve that one and to banish slavery forever from this free nation. We had others. George Washington was worried that the experiment was failing because of the rise of factionalism and parties that would tear our country apart. He may have been prophetic in that as we see what is happening in our country today, as political tribalism is destroying us and tearing us apart, as we see, tragically, assassinations attempting and now succeeding in our country because of those factions that George Washington warned us against. But it was John Adams who I believe had the most valid concern of all, because he, along with the other founders, knew that if we didn't have a society who understood what the pursuit of happiness actually meant, that we wouldn't be able to survive as a country. You see, the pursuit of happiness was never about feeling good, as it is now believed to be today. Happiness is whatever my truth is or whatever makes me feel good. The pursuit of happiness had a very distinct meaning then, coming from the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, the Stoics of the time, who knew that the pursuit of happiness meant the pursuit of individual improvement and self-excellence, that we would be striving every day to make ourselves better human beings, better citizens of this country. And in that was something special. Again, I said freedom is the fun one. The pursuit of happiness meant responsibility. You don't just get to do what feels good or makes you happy. You actually have to do what is better for your neighborhood, for your community, for your country. The pursuit of happiness was about sacrifice. It was about giving up your personal pleasure to make sure that we lived in a better place. And you see, they also knew that that Constitution was not perfect, that this American experiment was not perfect, but that we were trying to build a more perfect union over time, that we would get it wrong, that we would figure it out, and that we would fix it over time. You see, and if you'll permit me a moment of personal privilege, and I've shared this before, but I know only a few of our legislators were paying attention in the state a couple of years ago, so I'm going to share this story again. 70 years after those words were written on paper, and after a revolution, and after a constitution, and after a Bill of Rights that secured our freedoms, my great-great-great-grandparents, Orville Sutherland Cox and his wife Elvira, were in a town in Illinois called Yellowrong. And they were trying to practice their religion, guaranteed the protection of the United States government, the First Amendment to our Constitution. And a mob showed up and burned their house to the ground. And the United States did not protect them. The United States, this amazing country that we are celebrating today, 70 years later, it failed them. And so they put what little belongings they had from their house in a wagon, and they left that country to find a place where they could worship according to the dictates of their hearts. And where did they come? Well, they came here, to this place, to this valley that we overlook today. My great-great-great-grandfather was an iron worker and a woodworker. When they arrived in the valley, that first group of people, he was given a responsibility. His first responsibility was to go up into those mountains, to cut down the largest pine tree he could find, to work that tree, bring it down, and plant it in the middle of the public square. For what? To raise the flag of the United States of America, the country that had failed them. But you see, here's the thing. That's not how he saw it. No. While the Union wasn't perfect yet, he and all those other settlers that came here still believed in the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, believed in the ideal of self-governance, believed that they could make a more perfect union. And so they didn't denigrate the United States of America. They didn't tear it down. They built it up, and they built it better. And here we are today. We are the legacy of all of those people who have come before us, those who put on the uniforms of our country, who went and fought wars, domestic and abroad, to save this union. We are here 250 years later because they believed. They never gave up hope. And we believe today. Are there problems? Are there flaws in our country today? Sure. Too many to name, probably. But I still believe in us. And I know you believe in us, and that's why you're here today. And I believe that we need a new era of patriotism. A patriotism that is like the old era of patriotism. Something that we have forgotten. Something that we need to teach our children, intentionally pass on to our kids and grandkids, that freedom is built here, that responsibility is built here, that we must be better human beings, that there is nothing more un-American than hating our fellow Americans, that unity does not mean agreement, it means working together. It means believing in the institutions that those founders created 250 years ago that are still alive today by the grace of God. And it is incumbent on every Utahn to show the rest of the country what patriotism really means. And I believe that we are perhaps the last best hope of a nation to show a nation what that is, because here we still volunteer. Because here we still give back, because here we still care about our neighborhoods. Because here we know we can disagree without hating each other. That we can fight for what we believe in. That is who we are as Utahns. That is who we are as Americans. That's who we were 250 years ago, and that's who we can still be today. So to all of you that are listening, we get a year starting July 4th till next year to celebrate what made this country so unique, so special. We get a year to remember again who we are and why we are. And if we do that together, we here in Utah, 3.5 million people, just like in the days of George Washington, can once again change the course of history. We can get us back on course. And we can make sure that 250 years from now, another group just like us will be assembled here today, celebrating 500 years of the greatest nation in the history of the world. May God bless you. May God bless the great state of Utah. And may God continue to bless these United States of America. Thank you.